Welcome, everyone. My name is Dee, and this yoga class is called Gentle Slash Wind Down. It's offered every Wednesday for the next 15 weeks, I believe, at 4 p.m. But you might also see this video recorded at another time and in another place because I kind of record for a few different purposes. Nonetheless, this is gentle and wind down, and you can come to any comfortable seat. I modeled a few here. I had my feet up and I sat in an easy pose, kind of crisscross applesauce. You could extend one leg. You can sit in a staff position. I'm not sure you can see my feet, but they're straight out from my hips. Any comfortable position, go ahead and bring yourself into. The only thing that you should be aware of is bring your attention to your sits bones and just feel the pressure of the bones pushing down into your mat. I actually have a rolled up blanket underneath me. You could use a towel. You could use a block. I ask people that to have some sort of props nearby. I have a ball, a tennis ball, a couple of yoga blocks that are about 2.5 to 3 inches thick, and maybe 8.5 by 5 inches for the other dimensions. Stacked books work really well. Other kinds of balls can work. I like tennis balls for myofascial release because they really help release. They're hard enough. These are some things that you can get before our next practice, or if you're seeing this recorded, you can stop the machine or the film and go ahead and get what you need. What I don't have shown is a strap. Any kind of bathrobe, belt, or tie would work. So wherever you happen to be seated, or in whatever way you're sitting, please feel that lift from your sits bones pressing down. Just feel that ability to lift the crown of your head just a little closer to the sky. And let's close down our eyes. And let's begin to breathe in and out of our mouth. Maybe take a deep breath in, sigh the breath out. And then if you're able, go ahead and begin to breathe just through your nose, inhales and exhales. If you have a cold or are congested, you can breathe in whatever way is the most comfortable for you. And anytime you're not feeling a clear passageway, you can set aside the pranayama. We'll go ahead and do one today. I planned a belly breath for this lesson. And I chose belly breath for a couple of reasons. We're going to tap into our bellies as we practice today in asanas, just like we'll tap into our bellies in a few moments here. So with the next inhale, just watch and be aware of your breath moving through your body, and just let the exhale release. Again, this is through the nose, if at all possible. If not, it's okay to modify in any way that you need to. And on your next inhale, bring that breath a little deeper into the belly. See if you can get your navel to rise up away from the spine. Kind of come forward into the room. And as you exhale, notice your belly going back down and getting closer once again to the spine. And go ahead and take about 5 more of these breaths deep into the body. Maybe even imagining that the breath is coming in and down to your navel. And then the breath is leaving, going up and out back up to your throat. After 5 breaths, set the pranayama aside and take 5 more breaths, just at your own pace. Excellent. So we're going to practice 7 movements of the spine from 3 different positions. And the first one is from a seated position. If you need at this point to rearrange your legs and feet, please go ahead and do that. We'll start out with some pelvic tilts. So first, sitting up nice and tall, find your seated mountain. Find the place where you can press down on the parts of your body touching the floor or the mat and kind of extend and lift up through away from the floor and the mat with the rest of the body. This spinal extension is the first movement of our spine today as we just begin to transition from our breathing to our practice. From here, with this extension, let's start to move our fingers and toes. Maybe you're pointing and flexing, maybe you're just wiggling your feet or rotating them from side to side. Maybe you're opening and closing your hands. Make your yoga your own. And then we'll bring our feet and hands to stillness. And let's begin to curl and round our spine and then to arch our spine. So as we exhale next, let's begin to curl our chest forward and down. The head comes along with it. We can even tuck the chin towards the chest. As we inhale, we'll lift the head, but we'll also lift the spine and bring the spine into an arch. Maybe the gaze goes where the ceiling meets the wall. And just keep pelvic tilting here. Notice what's happening to the tailbone as it tucks when the shoulders round. And as you lengthen and lift the chest, the back arches, the tailbone sort of fans out. And the next time you're passing through the middle, see if you can find a place where you can still support your spine with that natural S curve. You might want to move your feet or legs again. That's totally fine. Coming into butterfly pose or easy pose is a nice way to do a twist. So what we'll do from either of those positions, just let your right hand reach over to, let your left hand, I'll mirror you, reach over to the right knee. And let's let the right hand place it back behind us, right behind our hips. And either tent your fingers or flatten your palm to support you as you sit up nice and tall. On the next inhale, take a deep breath in. See if you can lengthen the top part of your body at the same time you're sort of grounding the bottom. And as you exhale, begin to twist and look behind you. Maybe make the chin rotate towards that back shoulder. And we can hold on to the knee, giving us support as we twist. Let the next exhale draw us back forward, and we'll switch to the other side. If you want to move your leg position, you can change the foot or lower leg that's in front and let it be behind this time. We'll turn over to the left. Right hand comes to left knee. Left arm goes back behind and down, and it's supporting you to allow you to sit up nice and tall as you breathe in. And as you breathe out, we'll come into that twist just a little bit more. Maybe bring our chin to the back shoulder, keeping that back shoulder down on the spine and rib cage. And as we exhale, we'll begin to release and let go and turn our chest back towards the front. Let's straighten out our legs and bend and straighten the knee, or bend up through both knees, feet on the floor, hip distance apart. And let your knees windshield wiper. We've done 5 of the 7 back movements so far. Let's sit up again. We can be in a different position or in the same position. We're going to move into a lateral side to side twist. So I want you to think of moving your shoulder down, but keeping that top shoulder even, and then stretching to open the rib cage. So as you're ready, begin to lift and stretch. Opposite arm reaches over to the other side of the room. Maybe you have a palm flat side to side so that you can hold yourself up. Maybe you're trying to keep that lowered arm back a little bit to keep the shoulders more open, the chest more open. And then make sure you feel into those rib cages, or ribs rather, just sort of separating away from each other, really stretching those intercostal muscles. We'll come back up, straight up and down, and let's go ahead and feel the mountain in this seated pose. So we'll call it seated mountain. Just sit up nice and tall. Back is neutral. You are trying to extend the crown of your head, but you're not totally tense. You're also trying to sort of balance effort and ease. And let's move from here into table. To come into table, let's move our folded blanket or towel so that our knees can get a little bit of cushion. Knees are hip distance apart. Arms are a little wider than shoulders. Fingers are fanned out so that there's as much space as possible between the fingers. Let's try those 7 movements of the spine from this tabletop position here. So first, find your table mountain. It kind of might seem a little confusing, but see if you can release your tailbone right behind you to the wall, towards the wall behind you, and your crown of your head towards the wall in front of you. Your gaze is down on the floor, the mat right in front of you. We're lengthening the spine. We don't have a lot of ability to create that tension, but we can imagine that we're separating out those vertebrae and holding ourselves up here with our foundation strong. Um, the abdomens can be strong here. Good. From here, let's move into cat-cow. So we'll press down on the hands, begin to release the head, chin comes to the chest, tailbone tucks in, back and shoulders round. Begin to release yourself from that and think of your navel reaching towards the mat. Tailbone fans up and out, head lifts to inches above the top of your yoga mat. And we'll move from rounded and curled through flat into arch and back again to the rounded. And now let's bring our spine to neutral. For our next back movement from here, let's put the left hand right beneath our face, sort of in the middle of the mat. And let's press into that left palm so we can release the right hand from the mat. We'll inhale and draw that right arm up towards the ceiling. Maybe you can go out to the side in your space as well. And see if you can draw the back of that right hand up and back as much as you can. Really open that chest. Let the next exhale release the right hand. Plant that palm just in the center as you did the left. And we'll inhale, lifting that left arm up towards the ceiling, coming into that twist. reaching fingertips to the sky. Exhale to release that arm. Come back into your hands and wrists, a little more than shoulder distance apart. From here, think about bringing your hip and your shoulder together on one side. You can even look over that shoulder and maybe look towards your heel. For a lateral stretch, come back to the center and then make the opposite hip rotate towards the shoulder so that you're looking at the opposite ankle and foot. And we'll go side to side once more. Left and right. Good. So that's the 7 movements of the spine from this particular position here. Let's move into sunbird by extending our right foot back behind us, curling the toes under, keeping ourselves here, even with our hands. Or if you feel like lifting that left hand, sliding the palm forward towards the top of your mat, you can do that. Keeping yourself stable with all 4 limbs on the ground. It's also might feel good to lift your arm and leg up away from the floor any amount, tightening the abs, letting the core work to balance you here and to keep you steady and to keep limbs lifted or stretched away from the main part of the body. On the next exhale, bring everything in and sink back either into child's pose or come down onto forearms, keeping hips over the knees. And take a few breaths here, giving the wrists some break. You can roll the wrists, make some circles. Let's inhale to come back up to our table, and this time we extend the left foot back behind us, toes curled under. Right hand can slip forward. It doesn't have to. You can keep hands a little more than shoulder distance apart. Fingers and toes can stay touching the ground, or they can lift any level or amount away from the floor. Maybe press through that back heel, lift through those front fingers, lengthening the body in sunbird, and then exhaling and releasing that hand and knee and slipping back into child's pose for a breath or two, or coming onto the forearms, leaving hips above the knees. And then we'll inhale, coming back up to our table. From here, let's thread the needle. So let's bring the left hand so that we'll keep it where it is, but we'll press into the left hand, releasing the right hand. Let your inhale lift the right hand up. Fingers move towards ceiling as the arm sweeps either straight up or out and up. As we exhale, lower that right hand and arm and thread the needle behind the left arm. We're going to stay pretty lifted here. And we'll inhale, letting our arm lift, reaching the sky. Exhale, we'll thread the needle. And the next time you're threading the needle, you can lower the shoulder if you're able, maybe grabbing a block and letting the head rest on a block, keeping the chest a little higher up off the ground if that works for your body better. Maybe laying the head on the floor. And maybe rotating the chest towards that kind of trapped arm. See if you can stretch the shoulder, being so careful and aware of how you're feeling in your body. Let the next inhale lift you up. We'll take that right hand straight up like we did before towards the ceiling, and then we'll place it back down, shoulder distance apart. Lean into that right hand now, and as you inhale, lift the left arm back up towards the ceiling, and let's thread the needle, letting the left arm come through underneath that right arm on each exhale. And then when you're ready, if you'd like, you can lower the shoulder to the floor, extend that left arm alongside and in front of your gaze, pressing down on the palm of the hand, the back of the palm of the hand to open the chest towards that side of the room. Let your next inhale lift back up to the table as we reach those left fingers towards the sky one more time. And then we'll exhale, that left hand comes back down. Let's make our way from here to standing. We can come up through a kneel. We can come up through down dog into a forward fold. Do what works for your body. Do what's in your practice. And go ahead and move any props out of your way and stand in the middle of your mat, facing your device. So let's start off here with mountain. Feet hip distance apart or wherever it is that's comfortable, most comfortable for you and your body. Most people can kind of intuitively find that place. And let's find our mountain pose here. So we're standing, pressing all four corners of our feet into the floor, and we're really rooted here. Active feet, active legs, pelvis neutral, spine neutral through the whole length, shoulders back and down. Let's face the palms of our hands forward in order to draw the shoulder blades back and down on the rib cage in the back, right along the spine. Feeling the strength in this mountain pose. Nice. Excellent. From here, let's begin to do some cat-cows from standing. So one nice way to do it is to inhale. Let your hands draw back behind you. The backs of the hands are sort of moving back and up behind you. That the chest can then lift, the chin can lift, the eyes can gaze at the corner of the wall and the ceiling. And then we'll bring our hands forward. We might even bring them all the way up to shoulder height as we tuck our chin in. And slowly move. See if you can find your belly breath here as you undulate your spine in standing cat and cows. The next time your hands pass by your legs and the side middle of your body, leave them there and see if you can't find some extension of the spine. You want to feel grounded from the waist down, especially through the hips, the pelvic floor. And then you want there to be a lift in the upper part of the body. Arms are relaxed and just hanging by your side. You can wiggle them if you need to. All right, good. Let's inhale and bring our arms up overhead. As we exhale, let's turn to the right and we'll lower one hand in front, one hand in back as we come to a twist. We can bring our hand to our heart or leave our arms by our side. The next inhale can lift the arms back up over the head as we come to center. Let's exhale, twisting, letting the arms lower as we turn to the opposite side. One more inhale, let's come back to center. As we exhale, let's let the left hand grab the right wrist and we'll lean to the left. Inhale, come back up, switch wrists, and exhale, lean the opposite way. Inhale, come back up. Exhale, reach the hands out and down as you lower them by your side. Let's now move to the top of the mat and we'll step our right foot back so that our foot has, like it was on a railroad track, it's on the same sort of plane or level that it would be if your feet were side by side. Toes are both pointed in the same direction. Heels are both towards the back of the mat or the bottom of the mat. So with straight knees, this is pyramid. Maybe you're not able to straighten your knees here. That's fine. Let's inhale and lift our arms up overhead. Bring our hands together. Exhale, let's bring our hands to our heart. And then continue to exhale as you draw your chest forward, coming into an arrowhead, maybe even releasing your hands from your chest and reaching your arms and hands back behind you towards that back heel. Good. Let an inhale, bring your shoulders back up over your hips, bring your hands to your hips, and we're going to turn that back leg so that the toes point towards the long edge of the mat. We're going to move from that pyramid into warrior two. So find your warrior two legs. Left foot, toes are pointed to the short end of your mat. Right foot, toes are 90 degrees, pointing to the long edge. Plant your feet, root through your feet. Let yourself find your stability with your arms in and towards your side. If you have high blood pressure, you may never want to lift your arms, or if you have some kind of syncope, you keep your arms near your torso, at your heart, over your head, or parallel to the body. Kind of bringing your own way of doing things into whatever shape you choose. On your next exhale, we'll release, the hands come down. We'll straighten the knees, turn the foot, and walk the feet together. This time, we'll move our left foot back into pyramid. So left foot come back, feet are both on railroad tracks. Knees are straight if you're able. They can be bent if you're not. Hands can be on hips or waist or at the heart. Let's exhale and begin to reach and stretch down and forward. Stretching the backs of the legs here. And then let the next inhale lift the shoulders back up over the hips. We'll release the hands down by our side and we'll turn that back foot 90 degrees. Bend the front knee. Orient the knee towards the back toes. Find your stability in your warrior two and inhale your arms parallel to the floor, higher, make a mudra, keep them at your waist or heart. Do what works for your body. All right. Feel strong in this warrior two pose. Exhale to release your arms if you've lifted them. We'll straighten the bent knee. Turn that foot so that we're facing the long edge of the mat. And we can either heel toe or walk our feet together. Get our legs straight under us. And let's shake out both legs. And let's grab two straps. Sorry, two blocks. My bad. All right. Let's come to the middle of the mat. And we're going to turn our left foot slightly out towards the side of the mat to make sort of a 45-degree angle out of the left foot. We'll step that right foot forward, have equal space from the midline to each foot, and we'll bend the front knee. And we can lean forward and place our blocks on either side of that foot or on either side of our mat. Maybe some of you have the back leg closer to your front leg. Maybe some of you have it farther away. Maybe some of you have your knee bent more than others. Just make sure you don't move your knee forward from your ankle. Now, the arms, we can leave them by our side, on our hips. We can bring them to our heart, or we can lift one or both arm up over the head. We can use the wall, any furniture to help us if we need some more stability. But we're pressing down through both feet. Exhale to release your arms after taking a few breaths up there. And we're going to move into warrior three from here. So to do that, I might adjust where I am on my mat here a little bit. We're going to move from warrior one, where our weight is evenly on our both feet from front to back. We're going to shift up on the back toes, lifting the back heel and shifting the weight forward over the right leg. We can begin to lower our upper body as we lift our left leg, and we can hold on to the blocks to find a way to make ourselves comfortable. Several ways to do this. You can have your palms on the high, middle, or lowest level of the blocks, depending on your arm length. You can have your left foot, that back foot, down, touching the floor, or anywhere in between a parallel leg and toes touching. To release from this pose, we can bring that left foot down until we're in a forward fold. In fact, let's release and let go of our body over both fold here. Let's let the crown of the head release. Let's tuck our chin towards our chest. Let's bend our knees and rest our belly on our thighs. And let's breathe, taking in deep belly breaths. We'll inhale to standing by letting that inhale start pressing down through both feet, lifting up through the head, the torso, the shoulders. Bring our arms up overhead and exhale our hands to our heart. All right. From here, let's do warrior one and warrior two on the opposite side. So this time we keep the left foot forward, we step the right foot back. I didn't come into this exactly in the same way I did the other side, but that's okay. So as we step that right foot back, we're orienting our toes so that they're slightly diagonal. Our heel is in line with where it was when we did pyramid, if that helps. And the front knee is bent. And we're pressing into that forward foot to feel the security of the pose, feeling the weight from our waist down, helping us root here with our body. Hips are facing that short end of the mat, and we could bring our hands to our hips or waist, our chest or heart. Lift one or both arms up overhead. Feeling strong in whatever way we've chosen to express this shape with our bodies. Knowing that our bodies are fine, whatever it is that we may be doing to make yoga your own. From here, we'll begin that trek forward by inhaling to lift the back heel. We'll step that right foot forward just enough so that we can change our weight onto that left foot, lower our chest and head parallel to the floor. Maybe lift the right foot up off the mat, or maybe keeping the toes touching. Moving the blocks where it's comfortable for you to feel more stable and secure. And when you're ready to release that right foot, bring it on under you to align the ankle, knee, and hip once again, and come into a forward fold. Sinking the upper body over the lower body, bending the knees, breathing here. And I think we'll go ahead and make our way down at this point so we can start cooling down. So one way is to bend your knees and then rock back onto your hips. Another way is to send one foot back behind you. Let that knee on that side float down so that you can kind of come down through putting one foot in front, one foot behind. Stay on that knee while you shift your hips. Do whatever works for your body. We're going to sit up nice and tall, facing the bottom of our mat, letting our feet come to the floor, knees bent to the sky. And let's begin to lengthen our spine like we did before seated. And now let's pull our chest towards our thighs, reach both hands out in front of us, palms face in. See if you can draw your shoulders forward even a little bit more. And then relax your upper body. Let the knees hold up the arms, the torso. And give your back this little bit of kind of traction and lengthening. Chin can tuck towards chest. And let your next inhale lift the chin away from the chest. Bring your head in alignment with your shoulders. And then engage your core to sit all the way up again. Let's bring both hands underneath the thighs and begin to sit back. We want to make a diagonal line with our spine and find that kind of flat spot in our pelvic girdle with our hips to sort of balance on. We can stay here, coming up onto just the tips of the toes and keeping both sets of toes on the mat. Another option is to lift one foot at a time, bringing the heel up to knee height, pointing the toes, and then flexing the toes. If you'd like, you can bring up both legs, coming into a full boat. You can straighten your arms and legs, and you can slowly lower yourself onto your mat to be in a supine position. Spine on the floor, nose pointed towards the sky. Let's bend up through each knee, bringing the feet to the floor. And now let's bring one or both knees in at a time and wrap the arms around the legs, maybe at the top, maybe underneath the calves, on top of the thighs, or below the thighs, rather. Maybe we're reaching for our legs, not quite getting them to come any closer. That's fine too. We can even kind of hold on to the kneecaps if that helps. From here, let's begin to make some circles with the knees. It doesn't matter if your circles are big or small. Make them comfortable. See if you can get a stretch in a certain direction. And make sure you go both ways with your circles. Just moving slowly, slowing down your circles. Just letting your mind come back to your breath. Staying aware and mindful of what you're doing to prevent injury. Let's bring our knees back into our chest and just give ourselves a hug one more time. On the next inhale, release your legs and let the feet float up to the sky. And let's wiggle the toes here. Maybe wiggle the feet, maybe wiggle the ankles with circles, pointing and flexing, whatever feels good here. If your legs get tired from being held up, you can let the feet sort of float down, bend your knees again, maybe hold on to the legs in some way as you continue to stretch out and loosen the feet here. Nice. We'll let both feet float down to the mat. Knees are bent towards the sky. We're going to bring just the right knee in towards the chest for wind relieving pose. So we can grab onto this leg, maybe grab onto a pant leg, and hold this knee toward us. Just get the hip a little more loose. Maybe you can rock the knee and the ankle from side to side, just a little bit, making little rocking motions. We're going to move from here to happy baby, half happy baby rather. So on the next inhale, we'll lift the right foot up towards the sky. We're not going to unbend the knee. We're going to keep the knee bent, but the foot's going to come as much on top of the knee as it can. And we're going to reach both hands to grab a pant leg, a shin, an ankle, and we're going to work to stretch this right thigh really at the hip joint. Just kind of see what feels good here. Let your next exhale release that right leg and let the foot float down to the mat. Now we'll come into the wind relieving pose on the left side. So we'll clutch this leg in. Hug it. Breathe. And then on the next inhale, we'll lift the left foot up so that the ankle comes about over the knee. We'll reach the hands up so that we can lower the knee kind of in towards our armpit, moving around, exploring the stretch here. In half happy baby on the left side. When you're ready to release, let your exhale. Let the left foot float down to the mat. And if you'd like, you can come into full happy baby. If you'd rather do something else, that's fine too. If you'd like to rock in your happy baby, that's also perfectly fine. Tuning into the breath here. Letting the exhale float the feet down. Let's take a full body stretch. The knees have been bent for a while here. So let's straighten both legs along the floor. And on the next inhale, draw your arms up and back behind your head. Stretching the full body here. And now from here, come into student choice. So it could be a twist that you come into. You could do a yoga walk. You could do knees into the chest, rocking from side to side, giving your back, your hips, your shoulders, the back of your head a nice massage. You could do anything that your body is calling you to do at this time. You could even find a comfortable spot to start your Shavasana early. There are so many ways to practice yoga and to let your body drive what you do, not your mind. Don't overthink it. Letting yourself be led by your body into an asana of your choice. Maybe windshield wipers, all part of that winding down that we're doing, right? Signaling to our bodies the end of the day. Hopefully, we won't have to be too productive after this. But if we do have to be productive after this, we can breathe some energy into our body by doing some sun breaths. As you're ready, move yourself into a position that you can stay in for final Shavasana. Maybe you place your blanket back under your head, and maybe you keep your knees bent and you let the legs kind of rest towards the center line of the body, letting the legs hold each other up or the knees hold each other up, feet wide. We call this constructive rest. Or you can lengthen through each leg. Let the toes turn outward. Let the arms come anywhere down by your side. Touch your torso, maybe. Lay your hands on your body. Picking up the middle part of your back, sending your shoulders back and down on either side of the spine, along each of the bones of the back, flat against the rib cage. Maybe you're still exploring. Maybe you've already found your stillness. Letting your mind focus and be aware on the parts of your body here. Keeping your awareness focused on your breath and coming back to your breath every time your mind might carry you off. There'll be plenty of time for thinking later. If your eyes aren't already closed, try shutting them down, letting the lids rest up against each other. And begin to pay attention to your breath. First, not changing it at all, not critiquing it or judging it, and then letting each successive breath grow a little longer in length, get a little smoother as you transition from inhales to exhales and from exhales to inhales. Feel all the places the back side of your body or your feet are touching the floor. Let the other parts of the body lean into these lower parts. Letting gravity work for us. Letting gravity help us release and relax our muscles. We'll do that one one area at a time through a body scan, starting with the soles of both feet, feeling into the toes, the heels, the sides of each foot, the top of each foot. Let your feet completely relax. Now move your awareness into your ankles, into your shin bones, calf bone, into the knees, up both femurs and into the hips. Let your legs and feet be heavy. Focusing once more on the breath, feeling the torso of our body grounded, resting, rejuvenating. Watching the breath move through the torso, through the body. Bringing awareness to the shoulders, letting the awareness travel down the humerus bones of the upper arms, into the elbows, down the forearms, into the wrists, into the palms and backs of the hands. Let the fingers relax, the thumb. Let your arms and hands grow heavier and heavier and heavier. Relaxing the throat, the neck, relaxing the jaw, letting the back of the head press into perhaps the prop and then the blanket, or maybe a blanket or a mat rather. Let your head be heavy against the floor. Now see if you can visualize your whole body relaxing on your mat and on the floor. Imagine the clothes you're wearing. Picture your face, your hair, your whole body lying on the floor. Become aware now of the four walls that surround you. Think of the things that are on those walls. If you're outside, think of the things that surround you there. As you're ready, begin to rock your head from left to right, moving really slowly and intentionally, letting each ear lower and lift toward and away from the floor. And the next time your nose is pointed towards the ceiling, keep it still there. And now slowly make your way over onto one side. Maybe it's your favorite side for sleeping, maybe not. Stacking your shoulders, your hips, perhaps your knees, ankles, elbows, and wrists. And as you're ready, plant that topped hand somewhere in front of you. Lengthen that top leg if the knees are bent, and press down to lift your upper body slowly away from the floor. Coming on to both sits bones, finding evenness and balance there in whatever position your legs are in. They can be straight kneed or bent. We can reach our arms out to the side, maybe tent our fingers to give our upper body some support here. And let's inhale, lifting our arms out and up towards the ceiling. We'll bring both hands together, palms pressing lightly against each other. And as we exhale, let's close the eyes, lower the hands down to heart center, and let the chin sort of follow that so that we're bowing to the divine inside of us. The light in me honors the light in each of you. Let your next inhale lift your chin. You can flutter open your eyes, release your hands, and thank you all so much for joining me for today's yoga class. I hope you had a nice practice and enjoy your evening. Take care.